Hmm. Why are you not working? Alright. There we go.
風が気持ちいい。
She stretched her collar as she walked beside me. Hey, what are you doing? I knew she was warm, but she was going to catch a cold that way.
ダメなの?
Again with the cute acting. I shook my head. Just stay warm, okay?
はーい。
So, you feeling better now?
まだちょっとぼーっとしてるかな。でも大丈夫だよ。すぐに回復するから。
I had no reason to think otherwise. It was only a little overheating, but I had to make sure. She seemed to be enjoying herself, but it was far too chilly for my taste. Hey, Beatrice.
たまにはこうやって散歩するのもいいよね。
I am a little overheated myself. Ugh. Were you thinking about something in there? For a moment, her expression turned rigid. However, a faint smile quickly returned to her face. Hey, oddly manifested! How's it going? I couldn't read her. Whether it was subconscious or not, I could tell she was hiding her inner thoughts.
いろいろ考えなきゃいけないことがたくさんあるんだけど、何について考えるかってところから始めなきゃいけないんだよね。まあ、考え込んでるうちに寝ちゃったんだけどね。
Yeah, she was overheating in the bath. Okay, I get it now. I remember now. She fell asleep. She giggled and playfully hit herself in the head. I wonder, does this have anything to do with your talk with Kay earlier?
ないって言ったら嘘になるけど、それだけじゃないから。
Is that so? Miyako didn't appear to have any intention of telling me what she discussed with Kay. She probably wouldn't reveal anything even if I asked. Whatever it was, do it after you get out of bath. What if you drown next time?
そん時はまたヒロ君が助けてくれればいいし。
Are you a moron?
ああ、そっか。
Oh, thank you. My hair is not different as usual. It's just, I guess, the camera angle is different because today I'm standing. It's the same I had it last week as well, actually. Thank you so much. She folded her hands in front of her.
一緒に入ればいいんだ。
Hello. How can you say that with a straight face? She pouted and glared at me. Of course, she wasn't the least bit intimidating. She was vicious at times, but she was never aggressive.
こういう時、動じてくれないと面白くないよ。
I'm not here to entertain you.
ちぇ、つまんないの。
She murmured while pretending to kick some non-existent pebble.
でもさ。
Yeah?
なんでもない。
She didn't seem displeased at all. She was just incomprehensible. An elusive being with far too much freedom. Miyako? Thank you. Her face went blank. Being with you has made me feel better. When you're around, it's like everything will turn out okay. I don't know why, but I just feel that way. Avoiding my problems was something I couldn't do. Or rather, I didn't know how to. I wondered what it would take to become free like Miyako.
ヒロ君、何か悪いものでも食べた？
I've only eaten what you've made.
あ、そうか。そうだね。
We continued walking in silence. I couldn't say anything. After a bit, I didn't know who reached first, but we were holding hands all of a sudden. On the usual corner of a familiar road. As though it were natural, our lips met. The warmth of Miyako's breath made me forget everything else. A crisp sound of walking on sand clashed with the roar of the ocean. White waves emerged in the glimmering moonlight, contrasting with the night's darkness. It was a quiet, tender winter's night. The sight of Miyako walking along the beach was striking. It no longer mattered if my body froze solid in this weather.
私ね、言われたんだ。
She suddenly stopped walking.
人を試すようなことするなって。
What's that? Who told you?
信用に関わることなので、ソースは明かせません。
She had a mischievous grin. Idiot. Besides, what do you mean by test? Test who? She pointed straight at me. Me? I didn't remember her ever testing me. Yeah, I had absolutely no recollection of this.
うわぁ、本当に鈍いんだね、ヒロ君は。
Aren't you just as bad? Miyako grinned.
ずっとだよ。学園の屋上で会ってから、ずっと。あの時から、ヒロ君の反応を伺ってたと思う。ヒロ君は、私を大事にしてくれる人なのかって。
That's what you wanted to know?
大事にされないのなら、私は誰とも関わりたくない。
It didn't seem like she was actively involved with anyone at school aside from myself. Was it because she was uncertain anyone else would come to care about her?
正直言ってね、ヒロ君のことを忘れてたんだよ。クリスマスに会って、その後は電話もなかったじゃない？自転車弁償させるとか言って、番号を聞き出したくせに。
I nodded. I had in fact intended to make her reimburse me back then, but I felt awkward collecting money from a girl. In addition, I never had a chance to make a call because I was too busy with other things. In the end, it became a hassle. It didn't matter to me anymore.
私も同じだよ。どうでもよくなってた。どうでもよくなってたのに。
Her eyes appeared to be looking at something far off in the distance.
なのに、私たちは再会しちゃった。
Don't say it like it's a bad thing. I felt the squeeze. Miyako held my hand.
私はいつも自由で、何にも縛られずに生きてきたのに、責任取ってよ。
Responsibility? That was a shocking word for some reason. She grinned again.
そう、責任。私を捕まえたんだから。もう離さないで。
Her warmth flowed into me through her hand. It made me truly feel that Miyako was here with me. Are you okay with that? I thought she wished to live as freely as she pleased. Didn't she find happiness in solitude? What the fuck is that? Who does that? Nobody does, literally. She was always smiling after all.
あのね、変わるんだよ。人の気持ちなんて。誰とも関わらずにいるのは気が楽だったよ。いつでも好きな時に好きなところに行けたから。
It doesn't last though. Now that I thought of it, a while ago she had suggested going somewhere far away. It was easy for her to say that because she was independent. Maybe she wanted me to be free too.
うん。私はどこにでも行ける人だった。そんで、そのままどこかに消えてしまっても問題もなかったと思う。
I see. Her family was like that. She said her father was quite busy, but she never dwelled upon it.
問題ないんだよ。それは私には嬉しいことだった。だけど、
In an
だけど
instant,
ね。
she looked like she would cry. And then she smiled. She tried, anyway.
どこにでも行けちゃうっていうのは、どこにも居場所がないからだよ。
Yep.
行きたい場所も、帰るところもないっていうのは、まるで、世界に一人ぼっちみたいだね。
Her transient smile that could disappear any moment felt like it was stabbing my heart. but it was actually Miyako's heart that had been pierced. You're not alone anymore. I wanted to be by her side. I had come to love this free Miyako. Since I loved her, I knew I wanted to be with her. But, Miyako, don't think of me as someone who's tying you down. You can do whatever you want. I'm just one of many options. I'll go along with whatever you choose. Of course, I'll be perfectly happy if you decide to stay with me. A brief sigh escaped her lips. She looked a little depressed. It didn't disappear no matter how long I looked at her. I can't become like you.
私もヒロ君にはなれない。
We were both completely different, but because we were opposites, we attracted one another. Miyako possessed what I didn't, something I desired. Still, that's what made me love you. Hello. Oh, she's so cute. Her eyes opened wide and her cheeks flushed bright red.
でも、よかったのかな、これで。
They are. There were many problems, but things will work out somehow.
なんとかなるって、何が？
Let's start with our relationship for now. She nodded slightly. I lifted her chin and kissed her. Parting her lips, Miyako showed no resistance as I slipped my tongue in her mouth. Okay, that is a little bit out there. Our bodies met each other snugly, and I could feel the sensation of Miyako's tender breasts up against me. Sorry. Right now, I was sure of it. I truly wanted to be happy with her. Nothing else mattered. She took a short breath as our lips separated. Her steamy breath flowed away in the breeze.
寒いね。
Yeah, it is. It had already begun. Nobody could stop us any longer. All of the lights in the room were extinguished. Miyako's face was lit up clearly by the light of the moon alone. As proof of that, I laid my hands on her cheeks and kissed her. Seated side by side on the bed, we kissed with our hands firmly interlocked. Man, the sound effects, okay. Hey Chipu! How you doing? It is an interesting time. But it's really nice to see you either way. We repeatedly pecked kisses at each other twice, 3 times. Her lips were both soft and warm. I tried gently inserting my tongue. Okay, I don't know how to read this nicely. I'm sorry, it's a little bit out there for me. Yeah, the sound effects. I'm not expecting there to be things like a bit too out there though, because it's supposed to be alright for Steam, and it also says all ages in parentheses in the title, so I'm hoping they didn't leave in stuff that I can't show on stream. I tried googling it, but I didn't find much information about it, so yeah. Fingers crossed. As I entwined my tongue in her warm mouth, she coyly reciprocated. Yeah, I know. I know. It's... I know. Neither of us were very used to kissing. We didn't know what we were doing. So we kept going with all our might. Her flushed face was there as our lips parted. My face was probably just as red.
なんか力が抜けてくる。
You never have any strength.
ヒロ君はこんな時にまで意地悪なんだね。
Alright. I held her shoulders and softly pushed her down. Her strength really had left her, and she collapsed under me. I took a huge gulp at the sight of her lying on my bed. Ooh. Hmm? Yeah, we're all feeling a bit weird. Should I skip it? Do you want me to skip it? Although I don't know until where I should skip it, because I have not read this before, but... we were all alone in this dark room. My uniformed classmate was looking up at me from the bed with cloudy eyes. Her body was likely stiffening up just from imagining what followed this. No good, no good. Miyako closed her eyes tightly for just a moment, overcome with emotion. I continued holding her shoulders and went to kiss her once more. Hmm? She softly held her finger to my lips. What is it? She couldn't be telling me to wait.
聞きたいことがあるんだけど。
What followed this is my question? I don't know what you mean. Sorry. I might be losing track of the context. I didn't have any STDs, but that probably wasn't it. God.
ね。
She was unusually restless.
ヒロ君はあれかな。ここで誰かとこういうことしたことあるの？
He's clean, that's good, yeah. Be safe and healthy, kids. What was she talking about? Of course not. If I had, I wouldn't be this nervous.
一度も？
What are you accusing me of? She shook her head.
ちょっと聞いてみただけ。
Do you want me to stop?
好きだよ。
Good. There. See, asking for consent. Checking in. That's nice. It's way funnier than it should be. I'm glad at least. I'm glad at least it's like at least a brief comic relief or something. That was really sudden just now. She said that in a hair's breadth. Well, you said it earlier too.
ごめんね。急に変なこと言って。
She sat up slightly and kissed me sweetly.
これで許して。ね。
Oh, you. Miyako, I love you too. Okay. I like the fade to black. Please tell me there's no more. Great. Okay, we skipped it. Great. After spending an intimate evening together, Miyako turned her back to me and crawled under the covers. Are you okay, Miyako? I asked her while brushing her soft hair.
まだちょっと痛いけど平気。というか痛いよりわけのわからなさがあるというか。
What are they? 17-ish? Something like that. It's the same for me. I embraced her slender body in a makeup kiss. She was so warm.
初めてがヒロ君とで
Oh.
よかった。嬉しいよ。本当に嬉しいの。
Me too. I vividly recalled everything up until we started whispering to one another. However, what followed was a little vague, a memory covered in gauze. Just one thing was for certain. Never in my life had I felt more happiness than this moment. Awesome. I opened my eyes to the radiance. Although I was still a little bit sluggish, my drowsiness was rapidly dissipating. I had a feeling it had been a very long time since I had slept so soundly without so much as a dream. Hey, how long had it been since I'd slept in my bed? Wait, why was I sleeping in my bed? I shifted my attention in the direction of the noise.
おはよ
Miyako set down 2 steaming cups of coffee on the table. Why are you here?
う。泣きそうです。
Yeah, poor girl. Did they still use protection though? Teen pregnancy is not cute. I think it's safe to assume they did. I saw the skipped sex scene between them and it was bad. Alright. Well, I wasn't interested in seeing them anyway, because that's, you know, the whole point. I want to share the story on stream with you, so that thing has no place here. And yeah, I think we're all better for it. She pretended to sniffle. Let's see, if I recall, last night I finished my work and received a call from Mr. Omura. Ah, my body temperature instantaneously shot up when I looked at Miyako. She was also a deep red. We stared at each other for a moment, our faces beat red. Maybe even 3 minutes passed. Then we embraced. What are you doing? We rested our heads on each other's shoulders.
見つめ合ってるから恥ずかしいんじゃないかな
Go with God. No, it's not about that. It's just this is not the space to be sharing that, okay? And I want to bond over the emotion in the story, not about the practicality of being like two people being together. That's for them, okay? It's fine by me. I don't need to intrude on that. I'm quite happy just, you know, getting the general idea that it happened and then moving on to the things that I'm actually interested in. Also, I mean, I can't speak for this visual novel because I don't know. This is the very first time I read it, so I have no idea what they did. But usually, I don't particularly like the way sex scenes are written anyway. They don't really do much for me. They're just there for the sake of like being explicit and nothing else, which doesn't really float my boat. It's not my thing. I like the feeling behind it, you know, the emotions. That's what matters. If we did this, oh sorry.
こうすればお互いに顔は見えないから
It was her line. Sorry, I started reading it. My face is so discontented. Yeah, I haven't seen many of them, haven't experienced them, but the one that I did, I was like, yeah, I'm much better off without it. Let's move on. My heart was already racing. It was natural that I'd lose my cool after doing something like that. Your theory is off a little. I think. Sorry.
私もそんな気がしてきた
I'm tired. I don't read the names. If she doesn't start immediately reading it, I feel, no, sorry, acting it, saying it with her voice, I think that it's my cue to read. I'll chill. She parted from me as she spoke. We began laughing. We couldn't help but laugh.
でもびっくりしたよ
About what?
だってヒロくんいきなりパターンって寝ちゃうんだもん
パターン
急病にでもなったのかって思ったくらい
Ah. I couldn't really remember. I hadn't been sleeping well lately, and that killed a lot of my physical strength. So having a proper night's sleep felt seriously nice.
ヒロくんが何か思い出してるよ私頭の中で裸に向かれて縦にされたり横にされたりしてるんだろうなはあ
She was reading me. Oh, Miyako.
ダメ
I haven't said anything yet.
私朝ごはん作るから食べたら学校行こ
You liked the one in Tomoyo after? Well, good. I'm glad there was something that you enjoyed. Nobody will be there this early. It wasn't even 6 a.m. yet. Not even people doing club activities would be there.
ういいから行く
You don't have to be so serious.
のまだヒリヒリするんだもん今はちょっと無理だから
She cast her eyes downward, speaking softly. Yeah, I know. I was sure her first time had been painful. I didn't want to make her do anything unreasonable.
じゃあささっと作っちゃうからその間にヒロくんはシャワーでも浴びてきたら
I suppose. Did you take one?
うん
She was thinking it over.
浴びようかと思ったんだけどねそのシャワー浴びたらヒロくんに触ってもらった時の感触が 消えちゃいそうな気がするから、もうちょっとこのままがよくて。
Oh. She blurted out something outrageous and blushed. You can really say some embarrassing stuff, huh?
二人で恥ずかしいカップルになればいいじゃん。
No way.
チェ
Oh my goodness. Oof, it's cold. It really was coldest in the morning. Maybe I should have convinced Miyako to stay home a little longer. Meanwhile, she had entered the convenience store.
そうだ、下着だけでも変えておかないと。
Some reasoning. Couldn't she have just gone home? There really were next to no people at this hour. Someone was probably around, but I doubt I'd be discovered if I head straight to the rooftop. I bet that roof is even colder. Oh? I heard a familiar sound rumbling in the serene atmosphere. What was it? I turned towards the sound. Yep, it was the basketball. A minuscule figure was running around in the gym. It was Kei. Judging from her varying motions, I assumed she was practicing a number of drills. The shots went into the basket one by one, and she handled the ball with dogged determination. Her practice was so intense that she was risking an injury. She must have been extremely focused to not notice me standing by the door. Maybe I shouldn't interrupt her. For now, I hid myself behind the opening of the door. She was zealously practicing with this much effort. Even though it was winter, she was sweating buckets. Maybe steam would rise from her body. How long has she been doing this?
勝つから。待ってて。お願い。
Man, did I betray her? Was she doing all this just for my sake? I didn't know. Should I go talk to her right now? However, what should or what could I say? She had never specifically declared anything. I had always thought I could say anything to her. I believed she had always spoke her mind as well. We were that close to each other. At least, we used to be. But before we noticed it, time had passed. We were neither adults nor children. It was a half-baked existence, so I couldn't determine how far apart we were. What should I do? I felt a squeeze. Huh?
ケイちゃん、頑張ってるね。
Miyako appeared out of nowhere and held my hand.
私も運動はだいたい自信あるけど、多分バスケやったらケイちゃんには勝てなさそう。
Well, she's been doing this for a long time.
そうだね。
Miyako was strangely at ease.
でもケイちゃん、頑張りすぎじゃないかな。体壊しちゃいそう。
I think she knows that. I couldn't deny the possibility that she didn't, though.
ケイちゃんってヒロ君に似てるもん。その右腕みたいになっちゃったらどうするの？
You noticed that? I couldn't hide my surprise. She was usually so dense I thought I could hide it. I'm sorry to break it to you, my friend, but you are the dense one in the story. Was I actually the dense one? Yes, you are. I think we all can agree on that. It's unanimous.
毎日一緒にいて絵を描いてるところ見てればわからない方がおかしいよ。
Is that so?
ケイちゃんだってヒロ君みたいに痛くてしょうがなくても続けちゃうんじゃないの？
I guess we're both stupid. I grinned.
痛いのにどうして続けるの？
Because people are counting on me. My readers expected something, whether it was good or bad. I couldn't let them down, so I had to work through my pain. In the end, I want people to read my work. Whether it's one person or many, I want them to acknowledge what I've done.
それは自分の存在を他の人に知ってもらいたいってことじゃないの？
I suppose you could put it that way. Maybe I wanted to see how people would react to my creations. Maybe that was all it was.
一人ぼっちの痛みには耐えられない？
At the very least, I can stand the pain in my arm. It's no big deal. I lifted my right arm, then opened and closed my hand a few times for her. Some manga artists use cortisone shots to help them, but I'm not that bad off yet. Oh no.
痛み止めなんてあるんだ。
That shouldn't really be like a goal or something. Sure, but sticking a needle in my arm isn't my cup of tea. I chuckled.
それ、意味あるの？
Who knows? We laughed quietly so Kay wouldn't hear. Somewhat dry laughter, though. It was a meaningless conversation after all.
ヒロ君さ、さっき何か迷ってたよね。
Not really. How long had she been gazing at me?
嘘つきは嫌だよ。何も言われないのが一番嫌いだけど、その次が嘘をつかれること。
Never heard that before.
覚えておいてね。
Kay was still unaware of us. All I could hear was the sound of dribbling and the soles of her basketball shoes scraping the court. Right, she said that this Sunday, the day after tomorrow, she has a scrimmage.
練習試合？
Yeah, she said the opponents were good or something. If she wins...
勝てたら？
nothing. Kay said she had something important to tell me. I had never seen her so serious. It wasn't the right time to tell Miyako that, though. Maybe you aren't that dense after all.
ヒロ君にだって秘密があってもいいもんね。でも試合見に行くの？
I've got more work to do, but since it's on a Sunday, I was thinking it would be okay. Whether Kay won or lost, she would need my support. I was her Oni-chan after all. Miyako squeezed my hand. Ah. Miyako, that's a little too tight.
時間作れるんならその時間私が欲しいな。
Don't be selfish, Miyako. Huh?
ケイちゃんの試合を見に行くのと。
She huddled up to me. Her chest was pushing against my arm.
私と一日中エッチするのと。
That's a little bit manipulative, don't you think? Or is this a test? Miyako, how could you...
ヒロ君は分かってるはずだよ。選ばなくちゃいけないって。分かってるんだから知らないふりしちゃダメ。ヒロ君がそういうことしてたら私だって優しい私でいられなくなる。
I do not like this. One bit. Ugh, for the good ending though, I believe I need to stand by her. Ugh. I don't like it though. That's a little bit selfish. Sounds like someone needs therapy, yeah, maybe. I fluidly ran my pencil across my notebook. I had been doing this kind of thing ever since I was little. My dad had wondered what he could do for me. He was an artist and could only communicate with me during my childhood years through art. So my sister and I just kept learning art. As a result, the big sister was studying abroad at a notable art school, and the little brother rebelled against the father and became a manga artist. But even now, I continue to produce art like this. There were certainly things that had been conveyed to me, things I had inherited. Miyako tossed about in her sleep. Ah, she changed poses. I whispered so I wouldn't disturb her rest and ceased drawing. This pose isn't too bad either, though. She was sleeping completely in the nude. It was a little cold, but I pulled back the blanket. It was interfering with my sketch. You're prioritizing your sketch over her being warm. Man. At least the heat was working. I arbitrarily decided she wouldn't catch a cold. Arbitrarily. Her new pose was considerably erotic. I decided to tidy up the work in progress later and turned the page. Tried to stay still this time. She couldn't have heard that, but I said it anyway and began to draw. Wow, Miyako had a seriously nice figure. Having a good-looking model was enough of a motivation. This was fun. Had it been that long since I drew for fun? I completely forgot about the pain in my arm and became caught in the moment. With Miyako at my side, I felt I could enjoy anything, even my job. Indeed, this was fun because I wasn't treating it like work. If I could find a reason to enjoy my career as well. She moved again. What an amateur. She's fucking sleeping, man. I should tie her up. No. That would open some new worlds, but it would still be boring if she were asleep. May as well take the opportunity to practice all sorts of poses. She wasn't really changing positions this time, so I decided to approach this from another angle. Hey, this is the last page. I stood up and searched my shelves. There were no more empty sketchbooks. Ouch. Haphazardly stacked literature and used sketchbooks avalanched onto the floor. I timidly looked over at the bed. She was still sleeping soundly. She was strangely enthusiastic this morning. She must have really worn herself out. I forced a smile and picked up the fallen books. Oh. I noticed a particular book in the pile. It wasn't from long ago. It didn't take me long to realize what was in it. I took a deep breath and slowly opened to the first page. It was Kei. Looking at the date, I did this when I was Hayama's age? That's right. Back then I wasn't a professional yet, so I generally drew whatever I wanted. I couldn't think of anyone besides Kei to model for me.
ちょっとお兄ちゃん、そんなにジロジロ見ないでよ。
Stop being unreasonable. I wouldn't need a model if I didn't have to look.
もう、後で私の練習にも付き合ってもらうわよ。
Yeah, at least go to her game, man. Fine, fine, just stay still.
偉そうなんだから、本当のお兄ちゃんみたい。
Kei sitting in a chair opening a shoujo manga. Kei spreading the hem of her skirt with a natural smile. Oh, she had the other uniform, the one that Mizuki was wearing. That's cute. Kei holding a basketball that was at a clear disparity with her body. My drawings weren't very good back then. Kei, lively as she was being depicted with an amateur touch. I thought it was completely unlike my usual art. Kei. She was in the middle of her scrimmage right about now. Was she upset because I wasn't there for her? But this was my choice. I returned the sketchbook to its place on the shelf and glimpsed at the bed. Miyako continued sleeping, breathing tranquilly. Now that I had decided, there was no going back. Because I knew the pleasure of being so close to her. Yes, I didn't want to be apart from Miyako. That alone was certain. Yeah, but dude, she's your friend. You promised her. She said she had something important to tell you. Like, I'm pretty sure you guess what it is. Even if you know you're gonna reject her, just let her do it properly, on her own terms, after the moment of her victory, so she can freaking move on with it. But no. Okay. Sorry. I returned the fallen books to the shelf and climbed back into bed. Miyako still showed no signs of waking. I poked at her cheeks. She groaned and struck my finger. She really wasn't going to wake up. Well, that was fine. I embraced her and she became calm. This isn't bad either. Yeah, this is probably what... Ah, crap. I hadn't turned off my cell phone. But I had to answer it now. I quickly got out of bed and grabbed it. Hello? I leered over at the bed as I answered. Miyako's eyes were slightly open. But then she fell back asleep. What a weird woman.
Oi, Hirano!
Oh, Kyosuke. If you're bitching about the film club again, I don't want to hear it.
それどころじゃないんだって。
Oh, he sounded unusually serious.
な、俺今日はバスケ部に頼まれて練習試合を撮影してたんだけど。
Aren't you recording a short film?
こっちもいろいろあるんだよ。そんなことはどうでもいいから黙って聞け。
What? Did something happen?
新藤さん、試合の途中でぶっ倒れて運ばれてったんだよ。
What? I couldn't understand what I had been told for a moment.
だから新藤さんが倒れたんだって。
How? I knew I had just gone pale. Kay had collapsed? That Kay who was always so healthy?
走ってる途中でいきなり倒れたけど、意識がないわけじゃなさそうだった。まだ試合は続いてるから、俺は現場離れらんないけど、とりあえずお前には知らせておいた方がいいと思って。
Got it. Thanks.
多分大したことないと思うけど、様子見に行ってやれよ。
Yes, go. Yeah. I thanked him once more and hung up. Kay had definitely collapsed. It was improbable that she did. But Kyosuke wouldn't lie to me about something like that. Now was not the time to be thinking. I had to leave. Miyako was the one for me, but this was something else. I absolutely couldn't ignore Kay after hearing this news. There was no way I could. Why does she have to collapse for you to, like, you know, assign importance to her existence and her request? Like, she specifically asked you to be there. Like, I think I remember now why I didn't really like this story so much, because this bothers me. I had little strength left, probably because Miyako and I had just, you know, gone kinky. After a few minutes, I was out of breath. My legs wouldn't move at all. My body, which did little more than commute to school, couldn't handle stuff like this. Shit, what was happening? This had a far greater impact than when I had heard about my dad's hospitalization. How important was Kate to me? I had finally realized what she meant to me. As I hopelessly prayed, I gathered enough power to move once more.
あれ?
I saw Kay, but she put on a face as though nothing had happened.
お兄ちゃん、なんでここにいるの?
Are you really Kay? You didn't switch places with Chihiro, right? Chihiro was her twin sister. She looked exactly like her. Actually, I feel like they look nothing alike. Aside from, I guess, the color of their hair and something. There's distinct differences. Kay was supposed to have collapsed, so she couldn't be walking around normally. It had to be Chihiro.
何よその質問は。今さら見分けがつかないとは言わせないわよ。
Didn't you collapse?
どうしてお兄ちゃんが知ってるの？試合見てなかったわよね。
Kyosuke told me.
京介って誰よ?
Never mind. Let me take a good look at you. I firmly grabbed her shoulder and pulled her over.
ちょっとお兄ちゃん?
Her face was dyed red as she brushed away my hand. It's fine, so just be quiet. Without any further complaint, she stopped resisting. I didn't really understand why she was turning red. Can I crawl the walls right now? Like, but the color of her face wasn't good. Or should I say, she was growing pale. Her usually moist lips were also strangely dry. Are you alright?
大丈夫だからこうして歩いてるんでしょ。お兄ちゃんって意外と心配性なのよね。
You were going home alone?
顧問の先生に帰るように言われたの。先生は送るって言ってくれたけど、まだ試合後のミーティングもあるから、そこまで迷惑かけられないわ。
Oh, the match is over? The outcome didn't matter right now, though.
負けちゃったわ。はあ、やっぱり強かった。結構食い下がったんだけどね。
Is that so? I'll escort you, so let's go. Give me your bag.
お兄ちゃんが優しいと逆に怖いわね。
Shut up. Even so, she obediently gave me her bag and I began walking. So what happened?
何って?
Why did you collapse? Kay's expression quickly dimmed. She was known for her endless strength. Collapsing in front of everyone was a huge disgrace for her.
倒れたなんて大げさよ。どっちかというとこけたっていうのが近いわね。
You fell.
軽い脱水症状と貧血。頭がちょっとぼんやりしちゃって足がもつれたのよ。
Oh,
このところハードに練習してたからあまり食欲もなかったし。
she looked a little embarrassed. You're an idiot. I popped my hand into her head. Onto her head, sorry. She stopped moving and instantly became a deep red.
何よ、バカ呼ばわりすることないでしょ。私だって一生懸命。
Why is her sprite right at the corner of the screen? Is that supposed to be there? Is that a bug? Playing until it collapses is something only an idiot would do. Are you really okay? There's nothing wrong? Tell me the truth. I brushed her head, speaking as gently as possible. Ah,
ちゃ
there
ん
we
と
go.
水分取って休んだから平気。ああ、でも
She's
こけ
shy.
た時に膝打ったのがまだちょっと。
I crouched down to look, and took a look at her knee. Oh my god.
ちょっとお兄ちゃん何して。
She turned deep red again and pulled her skirt down. Of course she did! Don't you realize what you're doing? Man! Aww. Aww, that emote is so cute, Beatrice. It's perfect. I wasn't exactly trying to pick at her panties though. Let's see. It looked like she'd grazed it somewhat, but it wasn't swelling. Does it hurt?
ちょっとだけ。
Yes, I gotta do this. It wasn't like me to offer myself, but she couldn't have made a full recovery this quickly.
何？
She inquired as I turned my back to her. I'll carry you.
ダメよそんなの。
I turned to face her. I don't want you to push yourself. After all, you're... She needed to worry about herself, not others. There was a reason she had to.
それは。
She should have understood, right?
でもダメなのよ。
I don't know, maybe like if you could actually articulate and finish your sentences for once, she would understand, and we would all understand, and maybe you would understand yourself. I don't know. She stubbornly shook her head.
だって今お兄ちゃんにおぶさったらそのまま降りられなくなりそうだもの。
Kay's hair swayed in the wind dancing through. A bird was singing off in the distance. It was a sorrowful, heartening voice.
お兄ちゃん、どうして試合見に来てくれなかったの？
I guess it was time to tell her. It was probably cruel to tell her right now, but... Sorry, I...
ヒロ君。
Right on cue. Miyako always picked the worst possible moment to appear. Actually, no. I had created this mess myself. Oh, finally! The man is, like, realizing it.
宮村先輩。
Hey, Miyako. I turned around. Miyako stood before me with a strained expression, ready to burst into tears at any moment. I was silently hoping that she wouldn't.
ヒロ君、やっぱりこっちに来てたんだね。
Yeah.
びっくりしちゃった。だって起きたらいなくなってるんだもん。
Kay's shoulders began to shake in response to that casually stated bomb.
そういうのやめて。黙っていなくなるとかやらないでほしいの。
宮村先輩、どういうことなんですか？
I had to be the one to answer Kay's firm question. She couldn't hear it come out of Miyako. Cringy, pointless teen drama in 3, 2, 1. Yes, that's kind of what it is. Like, I understand they're teenagers, but there is a point past which even I can really justify a lot of these things. I brought this on after all. Kay, listen to me.
私、ヒロ君に抱いてもらったの。
Miyako. Even though I tried, I was too slow. Why did she have to say it before me?
ケイちゃん、
Miyako wasn't stopping. She wouldn't stop for me.
私はね、ケイちゃんに勝てる気がしなかったよ。
宮村先輩。
ケイちゃんは誰よりもヒロ君のこと知ってて、ずっとそばにいた人だもん。それに可愛いし、誰だってケイちゃんのこと好きになると思うよ。そうだよ、ケイちゃんは勝てたの。勝てるのに勝負しなかったからこうなっちゃったんだよ。
勝手なこと言わないでよ。あんたなんかに何がわかるっていうのよ。私がどんな気持ちでお兄ちゃんと向き合ってたか、どうして何も言えなかったのかわからないでしょ。
わかんないよ。
Kay's body stiffened with surprise.
わかんないけど、ケイちゃんがどれだけ願ってももう届かないよ。私が届かせない。私はいつもヒロ君のそばにいるから。
Even more reminders of probably why I didn't really enjoy the story so much. Like, the others have drama too, but it's like well justified. This is a little bit. Miyako, stop. You don't have to say anymore.
もう終わったんだよ。
What was over? I knew without asking. My relationship with Kay as old friends was over. Our relationship as a pseudo brother and sister. As well as Kay's feelings for me.
ケイちゃんにできることはもう何もないよ。
何も。
もしあるとしたら、それは諦めることだけ。
Miyako.
やめて、お兄ちゃんが怒らないで。
What? Why was she stopping me? I'm so confused. This is so deranged, it's weird. Like, I understand having love be kind of like a fight, although it's way too much for me, but at the same time, I'm double their ages maybe, so it's like really not my thing anymore, and I can like kind of empathize to a certain extent. But I feel like Miyako is really taking it to a whole different level of selfishness in a way, and I don't like it. She pressed her lips, then gasped as her shoulders trembled.
今はお兄ちゃんは引っ込んでて。もう知らない。試合に負けたとかそんなことどうでもいいわ。関係あるもんか、そんなの。私はバカだから物分かりだってよくない。もう私には何も言う資格はないのかもしれないけど、私だってお兄ちゃんのこと好きなんだから。
You are the only surprised Pikachu hero. Trust me, nobody is surprised by this. We all saw it coming from like miles ago. Her eyes weren't pointed at me, but at Miyako. Even so, I was speechless at what was flying from her mouth.
抱いてもらった？それが何なのよ。それがどうしたっていうのよ。そんなことぐらいで勝った気になってんじゃねえよ。
ケイちゃんの好きな人は何とも思ってない女の子とエッチしちゃうような人なの？
Kay grimaced at Miyako's counterattack. I had to stop them, yet I couldn't think of a good way to interfere.
私とヒロ君がそうなったってことの意味、ケイちゃんが一番わかるはずだよ。
わからない。わからないわよ。
Kay violently shook her head in denial.
あんたに何を言われたってそれくらいで諦められるわけないでしょ。
諦めずにどうするの？
Miyako glanced over at me. What did she want me to do?
私たちが別れるのを待つ？それともどうにかして引き裂いてみる？できないでしょ、そんなこと。
私にだってまだ。
Kay, What should I say? I searched and searched, but couldn't find the words.
お兄ちゃん、言ってよ。
A long line of tears came streaming from her eyes.
お兄ちゃんの気持ち 本当に誰が好きなのかお兄ちゃんの口から言ってよ。
The one I love is...
言わないで。
She cried out and covered her ears. Kay,
やめて。やっぱり何も言わないで。かわいそうな人を見るみたいな目はやめてよ。
Kay cast her eyes down to her feet.
そうか。私負けたんだ。負けたんだ。
She appeared to be in much pain. Then she looked away.
ごめん。
The most annoying thing for me is that Miyako is going to be kind and nice again as soon as this one scene is over. Yeah. Yeah, I don't... No, I can't. She snatched her bag away from me and ran away from Miyako and me as fast as she could. Okay, wait a second. Why were the women around me always acting so rashly? She had collapsed just a little while ago.
ヒロ君
Miyako firmly seized my sleeve.
追いかけるの
She collapsed a little while ago at her match.
そうだったの
Miyako shook her head slightly.
でもね私はどんな時でも私だけ見ていてほしい
Kay and I have been friends since childhood. It wouldn't be right for me to not worry about her. Don't go silent on me. I'm sorry for leaving without saying anything, but I can't honor your request. It's simply impossible. There you go, finally! Just say something, dude! Be a fucking man. I mean, I know you're a teenager, so you can't actually be a man because you haven't actually grown to be fully a man, but like, really, it's just freaking common sense. You don't just abandon your childhood friend because your newfound lover is just like, no, please, just pay all your attention to me. Which I understand that it's probably coming from some place of neglect and a lot of pain in her life as well. And now that she has found him, she doesn't want to let him go, but like... it's selfish. It's like blatantly selfish. And you gotta say it for what it is. Ugh.
知ってる知ってるよずっと私だけなんてありえないことも
She released my sleeve from her grasp. Her usual complete smile arose to her face.
ごめんだけど私は大事なものを手放したくなかっただけなの
She cast her eyes in the direction Kay ran.
私には理由になるけどケイちゃんには言い訳にしか聞こえないだろうね分かってるから私はたちが悪い自分が安心するためだけに誰かを傷つけて重荷を背負わせて勝手なことばかりしてたら嫌われるだけなのに
Miyako, seeing her force that smile was killing me. I didn't want to hurt anyone anymore. That's all I wished for. Don't smile.
え
Don't smile when you don't want to. Don't force yourself to make that face. Why can't you just be honest when you feel upset?
私は
Her face inadvertently turned gloomy. She says this now as Kay is lying dead in a ditch somewhere. Yeah, I know, right? Like, what the hell is this? This was a tough expression to look at as well, but that was fine by me.
だってどんな顔したらいいのかわからないもん
I just want to move on to the other stories, please. Pull me out of my misery already. Jeez. Hey, you weren't about to hurt yourself. That didn't mean you were able to write off hurting someone else. But you didn't need to make yourself the villain in the first place. Kay only has to hate me. You're really not the type of woman Kay would hate.
嘘は嫌だって言ったよね
You also say Kay and I were alike. If I fell in love with someone, Kay would probably love that person too. Otherwise, it's my fault. Something that makes sense for once. Yes, thank you.
誰かのせいになんてしたくないそれをやっちゃったら私は本当に最低のところまで落っこちちゃう
Oh, so this so far wasn't your lowest? Sorry, that was probably too harsh.
もう とっくに落っこちてるのかも
Well,
しれない
she recognizes it herself. Okay. I feel better. Miyako. I gazed directly into her eyes. Don't hate yourself. Things won't be better that way. You had your own reasons for everything you did. What's wrong with that?
ごめん。わかんないよ。
A number of Ottawa Collegiate students passed by, flicking glances over at us. They were probably imagining all sorts of different things right now. What they were imagining probably wasn't far off from the truth. How funny. Why did it turn out like this? Just a short while ago, when I was in bed with Miyako, I thought that was happiness. I threw off my bag and sat on the floor. Today I spent the whole day taking my classes seriously. It was an ordinary task, but now I was exhausted. On top of that, I had work to do now. I don't feel like doing it. What little strength I had was leaving my body. I was spacing out and couldn't help being sluggish. This is no good. Ever since that day, I hadn't spoken to Miyako or Kei at all. I didn't know what I should have said to them. Why did I back away in a situation like this? The music, though, it's gorgeous. Like, I love the music in the show. I knew it wasn't the time to be worried, but I was helpless. I couldn't do anything. I hated my incompetence. I also hated myself for wallowing in my own self-pity. At least you're aware of it. And I'm not just, dense beyond belief. Shit. I released my anger on the books and envelopes on the floor. I knew it was pointless, but I felt compelled to do it anyway. Damn it. I kicked every object near me one by one. Just about everything was going badly. No matter what I did, it always ended badly. It was all my fault. You weren't about to hurt yourself. I said that to Miyako, so why couldn't I act the same way? I looked around at my absurdly messy room. Everything was jumbled around. I couldn't tell what was where anymore. Shit. I couldn't go anywhere. I had nowhere to return to. That was certainly the same as being all alone in the world. Did Miyako feel the same way? What about Kei? The more I thought about it, the less I understood. My head was a mess, my right arm was throbbing, and I was having trouble breathing. Well, that doesn't sound good. Bouncing up from the bench was...
Hiro-senpai!
What? Oh, you! Still, I was a little relieved. I usually wrote Hayama off as an annoyance, but right now I was thankful to have her around. She wasn't involved with my current situation, so I could talk to her comfortably. She's Kei's friend, though, isn't she?
なんだはひどいじゃないですか。可愛い後輩に向かって。
Pretty? You must be delusional.
本当にひどいですよ。
I saw right through her act. With that level of skill, she could never be a successful gold digger.
で、ヒロ先輩はお散歩ですか?
She was quick to change the topic. Well, sort of. I thought it would be a good change of pace. Anyway, what are you doing? Watching couples make out or something?
違いますよ。
She shoved the fat book in my face.
これを読んでたんです。
It was the shoujo manga publication that contained my work.
今日は基礎練だけで上がりだったんで。
She must have been reading it in the park. You can just read it at home.
そうなんですけど、ちょっと帰るまで待てなくて、そしたらちょうどいいところに公園があったので、つい。
You do this every month? She was so impatient she couldn't even make it home.
いいじゃないですか。部活以外じゃ私の唯一の趣味なんですから。
She started ignoring me and resumed reading the magazine. May I sit next to you?
ミルクティーおごってください。
She pointed somewhere without looking up. Her arm was pointing at the vending machine. Why did I have to treat her to sit on a park bench? Treat the girl, Hiro. Stop questioning it. Just be a gentleman. Get her some milk. What the heck? Eventually I caved and bought it for her. Here.
本当に買ってくれるとは思いませんでした。
What, you brat?
冗談ですよ。どうぞどうぞ。なんならハンカチでも敷きましょうか。
Ah, I don't need one. I sat next to her and opened the decant coffee I bought for myself.
体が温まりますね。
She smiled after sipping her milk tea. That's nice. She held her drink in one hand and turned the page with the other. I knew that she was into shoujo manga, but did it really make her this happy? From an outsider's view, it would have been eerie to see her absorbed in that manga, smirking to herself. Why? People get absorbed in books and make faces to themselves based on what's happening in the books. What's wrong with doing that while reading manga? I don't see it. But maybe I'm a weirdo myself. Well, as an author, it was good to see her reading without looking bored. She kept turning the pages while forgetting I was there, sometimes giggling. Then she came to my serial. She skipped through without reading any further.
何ですか?
Nothing. I was just wondering why you didn't read that one. My heart was skipping several beats. Before my very eyes, the unthinkable was happening. I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to pretend I'd never seen it. My heart was screaming.
ああ、これですか。これの作者さん、新藤凪さんって言うんですよ。この人の作品、好きなんですけどね。最近は何か絵もお話もちょっと。なので飛ばしてるんですよ。好きだからこそ、つまらないもの書かれると辛いというか、読んでいられなくて。
Ouch. Big ouch. I desperately held back my unrest and managed to calm down.
でも信じてますよ。誰にでもうまくいかない時期ってあると思いますから、新藤凪さんだってすぐにきっと。
Well, how do you know she'll bounce back when you don't read it? Burn, yes, biggest of burns. Bring the ointment. Bring the ice. I see. Maybe it'll be interesting again.
Hi!
Again, how will you know when it's interesting again if you stopped reading it? I don't follow. Boiling up inside me, more so than discouragement, was anger. Anger at myself. It was pathetic that both my identities were falling apart. I clenched my fist. I really hadn't done anything. Not just the situation with Miyako and Kei. Even my career, the dream I chose for myself, was becoming a mess. And just, like... You wrote some bad chapters. Just go there and write a good chapter. That's all there is. Make the next chapter good. Nothing is falling apart. It's fine. I guess I no longer identify with teenage trauma that much. And teenage dread of the world collapsing around. Hey, Hayama. Repressing my violent emotions, I spoke up.
はい?
Is school fun?
もちろんですよ。友達もいっぱいいるし、上に進学すれば K 先輩もいますから。
A shadow fell upon her expression.
K 先輩は最近元気がないみたいですけど。でも私がそばにいれば暗い顔をする隙を与えないくらい先輩のそばにへばりついてトイレの時も同じ個室に。
What is that? Quite the pervert you are, huh?
冗談なのに。ただ私は K 先輩を笑わせたくて。
Then why don't you become an entertainer? You'd be perfect as one.
いろんな意味で失礼なこと言ってますよ。というか、私の容姿から離れてください。
Admittedly, I thought Mizuki was plenty cute. As long as she didn't talk.
真面目な話、私は思うんですよ。
She's plenty cute even when she talks. Shut up, man. In all seriousness, that's what I think. Okay. Sorry. I don't know why I read that. For a second I thought it was his line. I'm tired. About school.
学校は 楽しいものじゃなくて楽しくするものです。私は今楽しいし、これからのことも楽しみでしょうがないんです。
Her smile was as bright as a sunflower. This girl was really innocent. He's just bitter because she said his work is boring. Yeah, probably. And that innocence couldn't help but dazzle me right now. Yeah, you're right. She spoke the truth. I've had to keep doing this for the future. Huh? All for the sake of being in the zone and having fun.
ヒロ先輩?
Though work was hard, I kept commuting to school. I skipped all the time, but there was always a place for me. How much had that rescued me? Everyone wants somewhere to belong. They want to protect that which they have obtained. Not just Miyako, Kei and I as well. However, there may come a time when we are separated from that cozy place. What do we do when that happens? In order to protect what I valued, there wasn't just one thing that was important to me. But if I could only choose one, I am a...
はい?
Thanks.
はい?
Hi. I placed Shichikuse's album in the CD player and started a random playback. I mean, it's always the same song though. I love it, I'm not complaining. A serene, unfaltering melody began streaming peacefully. This was one of Shichikuse's more enjoyable pieces. However, my mood grew heavy just from listening to it. Was it because it reminded me of parting? This wasn't something to listen to so early in the morning. Honestly, what a tactless CD player. You turned it on, man! What? I smirked and changed into my uniform. This uniform had some growing room left when it was made. It now fit me neatly after 2 years of school. Just 2 years. How had I changed and what had I gained in that time? I had a feeling she would be here, and she really was. Hi. You go.
おはようございます。
Miss Amamiya greeted me with a smile and lightly bowed her head.
今日も元気にサボりですか?
Hush, I came to do something specific today. I held out the bouquet of flowers I had been carrying.
まだ何度も会ったわけじゃないのに、いきなり結婚を申し込まれても困るんですが。
I didn't come here to propose to you.
その花束は私への贈り物じゃないんですか?
I'd be some kind of creep if I gave this to a random woman.
そんなことないです。可愛い後輩からの贈り物なら喜んで受け取りますよ。
Why would I give anything to someone I don't look up to? Why are you even here? I'm so confused. Even if she was a saint, who'd give her something so suggestive?
あらら、残念ですね。
Are you disappointed?
私が一番残念なのは、
Her expression tightened ever so slightly.
ただの顔見知りなんて言われると悲しいですね。私はヒロノさんのこと結構好きなのに。
She was speaking nonsense again.
微妙に赤くなってませんか?
I am not. I didn't know why, but I was strangely embarrassed. It was different than being embarrassed around Miyako and Kei. Miss Amamiya seemed to tickle me somewhere out of my reach. Wait, what was I thinking about? Just forget about it.
そういえばヒロノさん、真面目な話何の用でこちらに?
I'm visiting a grave. My destination today wasn't actually here, but the cemetery behind the church.
誰のとか聞いてもいいですか?
Wow, showing such restraint isn't like you. Usually you just demand whatever.
誰のお墓参りなのかとっとと喋り上がってください。ノロノロしてると刺しますよ。
Why is he so mean? I don't know. I guess it's just the dynamic they have. Maybe it's difficult for him to be vulnerable and admit to the fact that he's here to ask her for advice or to confide in her or just to, you know, bounce thoughts off her. But it's very clear that she was there in key moments where he needed to have that kind of like sparring partner in a sense. So it's kind of weird. Anyway. Because it feels like he kind of wants to express some sort of gratitude, and at the same time, he doesn't. He's being a bit tsundere about it. Odd. If you were coming to see the cemetery behind the church, why did you enter the church? Hmm? You knew she would be here. You knew you would have this conversation. So why didn't you just go directly to the cemetery if you didn't want to be here? If you didn't want to see her? If you didn't want to talk? That's not what I meant. I was being played, of course. But why didn't I feel too upset? Was it because I was too nice?
いえ、本当に言いたくないのならいいんですよ。
I shook my head slightly. My mother. She died when I was little, so I don't really remember what she looked like.
そうなんですか。
There was no sympathy in her tone. Her lack of concern was kind of comforting. It was suspicious, but I had the feeling she understood well. Today is the anniversary of her death. Well, I'm not such a devoted son that I visit every year, but I'm visiting in place of her husband this year.
お父様の？
He doesn't deserve to be called that. Anyway, he's in the hospital right now, so he sent me. My sister had already returned overseas, so I was the unlucky one.
あなたもなかなか複雑そうな家庭環境ですね。
You could say that. Everyone in my family seemed to be an artist after all.
でも、ヒロノさん。
Her face once again turned serious.
ヒロノさんは覚えてなくても、あなたを産んでくれた人ですよ。命日にお墓参りに来たって、罰は当たらないと思いますけど。
Yuko reading my thoughts. Thank you, thank you. Her words were unexpectedly serious and somewhat provoking. I scratched my nose and yawned. Occasionally I'll visit once in a while, but I'm not into visiting just because it's a certain date. That's like coming out of obligation.
なるほど。あなたらしい考え方ですね。
Alright, I can accept that. You're making a fool of me.
いえいえ、とんでもないです。
She shook her head in denial, never losing her serious expression.
そうですね。案外、それがいいかもしれませんね。いなくなった人のことを忘れていないってことですから。
Thinking about something, Miss Amamiya stared up into space. I wonder what memories were being reflected beyond her gaze. Perhaps she too.
私にもいました。大事な人が。失ってはいけなかったのに、なくしてしまった人が。
If she really was older than me, many things must have happened in the course of her life. Her usual banter may have just been a mask to hide her circumstances from others. Hey.
はい。
As she turned to face me, I handed her a flower. Aww, so cute. Sorry that it seems like an afterthought, but this is for your cherished one.
似合わないことしますね。
She didn't have to rub it in.
それとも、私なんかにまで優しくしたくなるような心境の変化でもありました？
People can change.
そうですね。生きてるんですからね。
She smiled and brought the flower to her face.
いい匂い。きっと喜んでもらえます。
Who in the world did she lose? However, I couldn't ask such a thing. If I did, her smile would probably disappear. So I didn't ask her anything.
ヒロノさん。
She silently took a step closer. It was my first time seeing her so closely, but her face was so composed. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say she seemed superhuman, Yuko, she's adorable. Yuko, best girl.
お花のお礼にお姉さんから一つだけ言わせてください。
Her thin lips spun a tale.
どんなに大事にしていても人はいつか必ずいなくなります。どれだけ望んでも永遠だけは手に入りませんから。大切な人と過ごす時間は楽しくて、もし辛いことがあってもそれでも満たされていて、そしてあまりにも早く過ぎ去っていきます。いつか訪れる別れを後悔しながら迎えないように、大事にしてあげてください。
Her immaculate prayer resonated heavily in my heart.
ヒロノさん、あなたにそれができますか？
寒いなあ。自販機で買ってきたコーヒーに口をつける。あんまり女の子が飲んでるところは見かけない缶入りのブラックコーヒー。初めてブラックを飲んでみたんだけど、自分でもびっくりするくらい美味しい。いつの間にかミルクも砂糖も入ってないコーヒーを体が要求するようになってたんだね。変なの。ちびちびとコーヒーを含む。苦くて熱い液体が喉を通って体の中から温めてくれる。おいしい。つぶやいて遠くに視線を向ける。目の前には海だけが広がっている。なぜだか水平線の向こうには何もないような気がしてしまう。海なんてだだっ広いだけで何もない。眺めてたって寂しくなるだけだ。私って変わっちゃったよね。苦いコーヒーが美味しいし、男の子とエッチなことだってしたし、それに別に嫌いでも何でもない女の子を傷つけてしまった。嫌なやつだ私は。どんどん嫌な性格になっていく。好きな人をつなぎ止めるためならどんなことでもやっちゃうの？それで最後には幸せになれるの？わかんないよ。わからないままじゃいられない。このままじゃあまりにも中途半端だもん。でも勇気が出ない。どんな顔してヒロ君に会えばいいの？教えて。教えてよ、優子。一体何を教えてもらうのよ。私の心は決まってるのに。私の望みは分かりきってるのに。
What are you doing here all by yourself?
弾かれたように、どんな顔をすればいいのか分からないまま。だってしょうがないじゃない。私の望みはたった一つ。ヒロ君と一緒にいることなんだから。
What are you doing here all by yourself?
え？
She swiftly turned around as I called out to her. Her eyes opened wide and she gazed at me absent-mindedly.
どうして？
It seemed she wanted to know how I found her. Woman's intuition, it seems. Something good might happen if I went to the beach. That was what Miss Amamiya said. But I never imagined Miyako would be here. Really, what kind of person was she? I thought she was just full of it, but I guess she was clairvoyant.
意味わかんないよ。
She still looked absent-minded. It's fine if you don't. Well, let's go. I held out my arm and grabbed Miyako's.
行くって？
On a date.
デート？結局ここか。
Did you have somewhere in mind?
別にないけど。
She didn't look unsatisfied, but her expression still looked dim. It was anxious like a lost child's. I didn't want to see the person I love make a face like that. I pulled her in. Our lips met without consent. The sounds, though, I can't. Tasting her lips' softness, I harshly stirred my tongue in her mouth before releasing her. That sounds harsh, though.
いきなり何？
I know, I wouldn't enjoy that from my boyfriend. Like, I nimbly let go of her hand. If I had asked in advance, you'd have run from me.
じゃなくて、なんでキスなんてするの？
Her face turned so red, any bystander would think it was our first. Am I not allowed to kiss you?
ダメじゃないけど、私、ヒロ君とこのまま。
Did you think it was over? I finally understand what you and I treasure and what we need to do.
大事なもの。
Miyako repeated what I said and walked up to the edge of the roof. She appeared to look at the cityscape for a moment, then spun around to face me. Was it an illusion that her body appeared smaller than usual?
ヒロ君、こういう話知ってる？昔ね、イタリアかどっかの王様がね、ちょっとした実験をしたんだって。
An experiment.
何人か赤ちゃんを集めてね、一切誰にも話しかけられずに隔離されて育った赤ちゃんは、一体どんな言葉を話すようになるのかって実験。
I don't really get it, but if they were raised like that, they'd probably become mute. I recalled some famous feral girl being unable to speak.
半分正解だね。
Half? Her mouth took the faint shape of a smile.
言葉は話せなかったし、その赤ちゃんたちは一人残らず死んじゃったの。栄養はたっぷりもらって病気にならないように細心の注意を払って育てられたのに、もらえなかったのは言葉と愛情だけ。でもそれが一番大切だったんだね。
That's a sad story, but why bring it up? What was she trying to imply?
私も似たようなものだったよ。死にはしなかったし、ちゃんと喋れるけど、大事なものをもらえなかった。
Really?
私の家には音がなかった。
Oh, I see.
うちの両親の中は、私が物心ついた頃からずっと倹約でね、だんだん会話が消えて、最後にはお互いの声や足音が聞こえるのも嫌になってたみたい。パパもママも家ではほとんど口を開かなかった。私に対してもね、お互いを嫌い合うことばかり考えて、娘には手が回らなかったみたい。名前をね。
Yeah? She nodded her head.
名前を呼んでもらえることもほとんどなかったの。それくらい会話なんてなかったよ。どんなにいい成績取っても、スポーツで一番になっても褒めてもらえなかった。パパとママが大好きな魚料理の作り方だって勉強したよ。包丁で手にいっぱい傷作って。でも家でご飯食べる人たちじゃなかったから。
Nobody had eaten what she prepared. Was that why she was always so happy when she cooked for me?
おかしいんだけど、別にパパたちの真似をする必要なんてないのに、私まで息を潜めるようにして暮らしてたの。なんでだろうな。 やっぱ親の背中を見てとかいうやつだったのかな。
Her tone was all too gentle, like it didn't involve her. I never knew her parents were like this. I couldn't imagine what life must have been like for her.
結局6年くらい前に離婚したんだけど、正直安心したな。ママが家を出て遠くの町に行って張り詰めた空気は消えてくれたから。そうだよ、私はそれで解放されたの。これからは何も音のしない家なんか捨てて、自由に行きたいところに人の声が溢れてる場所にいようと思った。いつかどこかに私の居場所が見つけられるって期待して。
Shut up, I've heard enough.
え？
You still don't know how to interact with people. If she didn't understand anything, I just had to teach her. Miyako was definitely a bigger idiot than I was. Why didn't you tell me way earlier? It was lonely and painful, right? Then you should have told me. You've already found where you belong. Your life in that house and your loneliness are things of the past.
居場所を見つけて、やっと見つけた居場所をなくしたくなかったんだよ。
You won't lose it.
どうしてそんなことが言えるの？
Because it's kinda also up to him? What?
居場所を見つけたと思ったの。見つけて、それを守るのに必死なんだよ。守るために抜け駆けまでした。ケイちゃんが気持ちを告げようとしてたから、私は先手を打ってヒロ君に体をあげた。そうしたらもうヒロ君は私以外の女の子を受け入れないと思ったから。
No way, you aren't that calculating.
最低だよ。私は自分のことしか考えてないもん。ケイちゃんだけじゃない、ヒロ君のことだって。
It's okay if you're selfish. It's way more human than sympathizing with others at the cost of your own happiness. All you have to do is look after yourself. That's the Miyako I know. She swallowed her breath with a look of astonishment. What I said wasn't anything surprising, it was just stating the obvious. I gently stepped forward and hugged her. Listen, Miyako, if you have something you want, something that you have to protect, tell me.
もう消えてしまうのは嫌。私はここにいるのに無視されるのは嫌。
That's good. Be as selfish as you want.
私は私の料理を温かいうちに食べてもらいたかったの。構ってほしいの。誰かに触れてもらいたいの。
Then that's what you'll get. I'll tell you you're amazing when you get good grades. I'll scold you if you do something wrong. And I'll definitely eat anything you cook. That's what it means to be together.
どんなにみっともなくてもいいからしがみついていたいよ。
Do whatever you want. That's all you need to do.
ヒロ君。
We didn't understand that we had to treasure our time together until now. Miyako and I had received what we had truly never been given. We couldn't imagine losing each other, nor did we want to. I only wanted nothing more than to hold her softly, so that no one could hurt her, so that she wouldn't hurt herself. I was the only one who could do that. I needed to be the one for her. I mean, you can do all of that.
晩ご飯は何を作ろうかな。
You can do all of that and at the same time not be jerks and just freaking go watch Kay's game. And just be upfront with her. Who would think? But anyway. Miyako was in a good mood, swinging our interlocked hands. It was good that she had recovered so quickly. Oh, I just remembered.
何？
I need to tell you before I forget. When we get back to my place, you need to be naked. What? coming from? Does he want to sketch her? Miyako opened her eyes wide in surprise.
私は裸族じゃないんですけど。
It would be a problem if my girlfriend was a nudist.
じゃあなんで？というか、せめてエプロンくらいは。
She seemed to have misunderstood. That wouldn't be bad either, but that's not it. The other day I started drawing you when you were sleeping. I was right. He just wants to finish the
全
sketch.
然気づかなかった。
Or the drawing. I'd hate to leave it incomplete, so I want to finish drawing you.
裸で？
You shouldn't be embarrassed.
恥ずかしいに決まってるじゃん。
Her voice was close to a scream.
もしかして全部モザイクなし？
It's art. Why do I have to draw mosaic on a sketch? Who would put mosaic on a hand-drawn piece?
なんで私の絵なんて描くの？
Because I want to. She was at a loss for words. And then I need to finish drawing this one-shot story, but I don't know what to do about the protagonist's model.
ずるいな。そういう言い方されたら断れないじゃん。
Well, I won't show it to anyone.
当たり前だよ。だいたい漫画のモデルにするなら裸になる必要ないんじゃ？
Nope.
そんなあっさり。
Let me draw you a lot. Being a model is tedious, though.
わかったよ。
She nodded, still appearing reluctant.
でも
If you're really opposed, we don't have to.
そうじゃなくて、読み切りなんて書いても平気なの？普段の連載休むの？
No, it's the same as always. I'm just increasing my workload.
ヒロ君の右手。
She lifted it and stroked it gently. Geez, don't do that in public. There's nothing to worry about.
じゃあ、一つだけ条件があるの。
What's that?
その短編、書き上がったら真っ先に私に読ませてね。
I intend to, even if you didn't ask. Sorry, I intended to, even if you didn't ask.
ありがとう。
I could sense her heart warming in her smile. For the sake of never losing this smile, I needed to decide. Miyako, I've decided.
何？
I'll tell you when we get home. In the place where we belong. There wasn't only one thing I valued, but I needed to decide what I valued most. The time for harboring worries was nearly over. What Miyako had found, what I had obtained, it had to be protected. For the sake of continuing to be the place she belongs, for the sake of doing what I wanted with my life, I had to stop putting off the decision I had to make. I opened the door to the classroom, greeted my classmates, and turned to my seat. Suddenly, I stopped next to Kyosuke's seat. Hey. Aren't your cheeks a little red?
あ、ヒロノ君への気持ちがつい顔に。
Is that all that's red? He had demonstrated his skills to others. That looks like a freaking slap, man. Did some girl hit him again?
いいんだよ。こういうのもコミュニケーションなの。殴り合って友情が芽生えるとかってよくある話じゃん。
That's male bonding. It couldn't be a very good thing for a girl to hit you regardless of the situation.
んなことないよ。殴られてるうちはさ、まだ興味持ってもらってるんだよ。終わってないっていうか。本当にどうでもよくなったら、その時はもう何もしてもらえない。
You might actually be right about that. It was disturbing, but he seemed to have more life experience than me. We were different. I had secluded myself in my room and only just got involved with Miyako. Yusuke, you're pretty awesome.
何が目的なんだ？
He looks so frightened he might run.
金か？まさか体か？今日まで守り続けてきた純潔が。
Purity? You're completely filthy. He was corroding my willpower. I couldn't take it any longer. Cure your bad habit and live respectably.
平野、お前なんかあった？
His face turned serious and he gazed at me fixedly. No, not really. I shook my head. I've just decided my place. A basketball bounced off the rim. Then it came rolling in my direction. Yo. I picked it up and drew closer to the person standing at the free throw line.
人を呼び出しておいて遅れないでよ。
Sorry. I was caught by a moron. It was the break between first and second period. As I went to meet Kei, Kyosuke held me up and insisted I tell him where I was going. It seemed like he was worried about the outcome of the bet he was holding. Maybe he was actually concerned about me. I was probably overthinking it though. Anyway, there's still time.
だいたい私はお兄ちゃんみたいな不良じゃないのよ。授業中に呼び出さないでほしいわ。
You can skip once in a while.
全然良くないわよ。先生に見つかったらどうしようかってことばっかり気になるもの。
It's fine, just chill. The gym was vacant at this time, so nobody should come here. You okay?
私はこれでも気が小さいのよ。お兄ちゃんたちみたいに大胆にはなれないわ。
She seemed to smile scornfully.
それで何なの？お兄ちゃん堂々と授業サボっちゃってるけど。
Forget about that.
よくないでしょ。私と同級生になりたいの？
Kay was worrying about me as always. She spoke rudely, but she really wouldn't say anything to hurt anyone. She was kind. I've decided. I'm quitting school and devoting myself to manga.
Eh?
It's funny that I was treating it like an odd job. I was screwing around and it was stupid of me to expect that I could do my best. You love manga, so you should understand.
わかるとかそういう問題じゃないでしょ。あんたバカだろ。何考えてんだよお兄ちゃん。学校やめる？
I've been coming a lot this third term. Not much changed, but I wanted to make a decision before the end of this school year.
何よ、どうしちゃったのよ。どうして急にやめるなんて言い出すのよ。
She went that far, then snapped her mouth shut. She clenched her fist and her eyes wandered for a moment. Then she opened her mouth again.
宮村先輩のことと関係があるの？
I won't say that it doesn't, but I decided this on my own. Miyako didn't say a thing.
もう決めたの？
Yeah, I have. It was still too early to be on cruise control. In order to draw a manga Hayama wouldn't flip past, I had to stop being half-hearted. This was to live the dream I once had. To show my dream to my readers, my editor, and everyone else in my life.
そう。
She heaved a small sigh.
いつもお兄ちゃんはそう。自分で全部決めて、一人で先に行っちゃうのよね。
I'm just doing what I want and what I can do.
でも、お兄ちゃんがそういう人だから、私は好きになった。いつも眩しかったわ。夢を叶えて、自分のやりたいことやって、辛くなっても、最後までやり遂げようとしてるお兄ちゃんが。
That's an exaggeration. Besides, I did my best because you were there for me.
私？
We were not related, but I wanted to show off in front of the girl who called me Onichan. If I thought back, that may be why I started drawing manga. I wanted to reward the girl who was kind to me when I had no one else. I may have loved her. I could no longer recall my former feelings, however. But because Kay was there for me, I am who I am today. Well, in the end, I just showed you my sloppy side.
そんなことない。そんなことないけど、私はお兄ちゃんに憧れてただけだったのね。優しい言葉をかけられたり、ちょっと触られるだけで嬉しくてたまらなかった。でも自分からは何もしようとしてなかったわ。
Kay tightly bit her lip.
見ているだけでいいなんて自分にまで嘘ついてた。
The gym fell silent. The silence was cruelly irritating. What should I have said? I didn't want to hurt her. And I didn't want her to hurt herself. With that mindset, neither of us could say a word.
私、宮村先輩が大嫌い。
Kay,
でも、憧れてるだけで何も言えなかった私が、妹じゃなくて、女の子として見てもらいたいと思えたのは、多分、宮村先輩が現れたから。だから、私は自分の気持ちを伝えようって勇気を振り絞れた。そこだけは感謝してるの。やっぱり嫌いなものは嫌いだけどね。
she was clearly forcing herself. With such pain, enough to break most people. I had to avert my eyes from her. I couldn't bear to see her like this.
お兄ちゃん、ボール貸して。
What? Oh yeah. I quickly passed her the ball. She received it and dribbled in place twice. Then she took a shot with the smooth form that she acquired from however many thousands of, or tens of thousands of shots she had taken. Drawing a clean arc, the ball spun towards the hoop. Ah. It harshly struck the rim again and came falling down.
ああ、また外れたわ。全然ダメね。
Are you not feeling well?
ちょっとね。
Kay answered and walked within reaching distance.
膝がね。
Your knee?
この前の試合で打った膝が痛いの。
A long trail of tears traced down her cheek. Kay.
膝が痛い。痛くて泣くなんて子供みたいよね。
Although she said that, her tears were flowing relentlessly. I may have been an idiot, but that kind of lie wouldn't fool me. She didn't have to fool herself even when she was crying.
あっち向いててよ。こんなところ見ないでよ。
I don't know, I don't feel like not finishing high school in this day and age is that smart either. He started out while also being in school and was doing a good job. So I'm pretty sure if he just buckled down, he would manage to finish school as well. But I mean, that's just me. With the ailing hand, yeah, I have no comment there. He should get it checked by a doctor, and if he really wants to do it this way, to have all of the time dedicated to his profession, then he should just go to a doctor and figure out a kind of schedule that would keep his hand safe and adhere to it strictly with breaks and rest periods and so on. But hey, what do I know? Apparently I don't know much. This stubborn girl. She had been like this ever since we were kids. She acted strong and hated showing weakness. I desperately held back the urge to reassure her. A token gesture of kindness would just hurt her more. I had certainly betrayed her feelings.
どうしてなの？どうして私じゃいけなかったの？
Why?
私の気持ち分かってたんでしょ？だって私嘘つくの下手だから分かってたくせにケイのこと好きになってほしかったな。
The reason was simple. I could explain it in a single sentence. Because I happened to meet Miyako Miyamura. However, I absolutely couldn't admit that to Kay.
お兄ちゃん、お願いがあるの。
She looked up at me while sobbing.
人前ではお兄ちゃんって呼ばない約束だったけど、これからずっとお兄ちゃんと呼ばせて、せめて 妹でいさせてほしいの。
Idiot. I don't care if you don't call me senpai.
ひどい。お兄ちゃんはやっぱり意地悪よね。
Aren't big brothers usually mean?
そうね。私たちって本当の兄弟みたいだった。
Don't know if that's a good excuse.
ずっと妹でいればよかったのかな。お兄ちゃんみたいなひねくれ者に彼女ができたことを喜んであげればよかったのかな。
A smile rose to her face, still drenched in tears.
ねえ、妹からもう一つだけお願いしていい？
Sure.
お兄ちゃん、膝が痛いからちょっとだけ支えてもらいたいの。
Whatever her true feelings were, if she wished it as my little sister, I would accept them. If nothing else, I could at least do that. I held her small head to my chest and arranged my hand on her lower back.
お兄ちゃん。
I firmly supported her body as she relaxed. She was light.
帰りたい。帰りたいよ。お兄ちゃんとずっと一緒にいられた頃に、私のお兄ちゃんでいてくれた頃に。お兄ちゃん。
She really was this much of a spoiled crybaby. But she had never cried or acted spoiled before, due to her stubbornness. I can take her crying. It breaks my heart. If I had been kinder, would this have ever happened?
泣かないつもりだったのに。
Kay,
心配しないで。すぐに自分の足で立てるようになるから。
you don't have to rush. It was fine to be spoiled. It was all right for now. Yes, it was all right. She would surely be able to stand. One day, she would stand on her own and move on. Isn't that right, Kay? I'm so sorry, Kay. Oh. I opened the door leading to the roof. The usual breeze was blowing through. The wind was still a little cold, as though to drive me away. Nevertheless, I kept my back straight and proceeded forward. Viewing the city, I met the person who was waiting for me.
ケイちゃんは？
She went back to class. Kay's eyes were so puffy that everyone would know she had been crying, but she said she'd go. That was just how she was.
ごめんね。ヒロ君だけに辛い思いさせて。
You not being there was the right choice. I brought the song.
違う。それは違うよ、ヒロ君。私たちは共犯だよ。揃って2人でケイちゃんを傷つけたの。そのことを受け入れないと前には進めないよ。
But I mean, have you apologized to her? Like, that would be an idea. Accomplices, huh? I don't like that word. It feels like you're lessening my own guilt.
錯覚なのにね。でも錯覚でも何でもちょっとでいいから楽になりたいって思っちゃう。ひどいよね、私も。
It really is something I should shoulder alone.
だけど私は後悔してないよ。
Was what she was saying the truth or a bluff?
後悔はしてない。だって私は大事なものを手にしたんだから。
That's true. Regretting is the one thing I don't want to do. I never wanted to hurt anyone ever again. I wanted to be forgiven by the person I had hurt. All I could do right now was hope for such a thing, but I would at least never forget these feelings.
ヒロ君はこれからどうするの？
Oh, you're sleepy. That's perfectly fine. Go rest, oddly manifested. Take care. I'm probably not gonna be much longer either. I'm also reaching my limit for tonight, so that's alright. Thank you so much for being there. I really appreciate the lovely chats. Things haven't changed much. Well, I'll still try to attend school seriously for a little longer. I had to enjoy whatever remaining time I had left at Ottawa Collegiate. There would only be this opportunity and nothing else after all. Their part ends in about 3 minutes? Well, then it's perfect timing.
私はね、
Miyako held down her hair that was being disarrayed by the breeze.
私も決めたよ。これからはちゃんと学校に行く。授業も真面目に聞いて、クラスの人たちとも話すようにする。
Or less. Alright.
もう逃げないよ。私はまだ夢も見てないもん。可能性を、夢を見つけるには、学校はいい場所。私はまだ夢も見てないもん。可能性を、夢を見つけるには、学校はいい場所だと思うから。
My finger slipped on the scroll wheel. I keep doing this. Sorry. Good for you. She would make friends at the school, smile, and spend time happily. If she spent time happily in not just one place, but in many, that would be reassuring. Even if it was somewhere she couldn't see me, I wanted her to smile.
私も強くなるよ。いつかヒロ君が倒れたりしたら、その時は私が支えてあげられるように。
Don't say something so ominous. I patted my right arm. There was the possibility that it would stop working, but I had to think positively. Well, just thinking positively is not gonna, like, cure your arm. Just take measures against it. Like, you know, stopping working. I hoped that Miyako could decide her path as well.
まずはクラスに馴染むところから
I did it again. I'm sorry. Oh god. Let her say the line.
まずはクラスに馴染むところから始めなきゃだね。でも私って頭はいいし可愛いし、明るく振る舞ってれば人気者になれるかも。
Well, don't be too ambitious. I grinned and tapped her head. Once again, she gave me an incredibly full grin.
あれ？どうかしたの？
No, it's nothing. Her smile reminded me. Just unexpectedly, such a mundane memory shined through. Would you want me to? If you feel like that's something interesting, we could put it too. A holy evening, a beach in winter. Miyako was dancing in the falling snow. I had immediately forgotten it, but I'm glad you're here for me. Now that evening on the beach was an irreplaceable memory for me. That was probably when I fell in love.
何それ？ヒロ君がそういうこと言うのっておかしい。
She was giggling. Oh, you. Oh, alright, sure, we can do that. But I'll first put the clan at once and then we can start putting these two. Painful experiences may become tender memories at some point. It probably won't be that convenient, and the reality that we hurt and were hurt won't disappear. Even then, don't people seek salvation?
本当におかしい。
Why was she still laughing? How long are you going to laugh? Hey, listen! Just then, her smile disappeared. Miyako?
私も寂しいな。3年になったらヒロ君と同じクラスになりたかった。
Being in the same class, sitting next to each other, stealing a glance to my side during class to find her staring back. Meeting each other with a smile after a moment of absent-mindedness. That was a happy delusion. But that couldn't happen.
ごめん、わかってるよ。ヒロ君にもやらなきゃいけないことがあるんだもんね。
I still have a lot to draw. I don't know when I'll finish drawing them at all. Them all, sorry. But that doesn't mean I'm only choosing to dream.
ヒロ君の右手は夢をつかむためのものだよね。
I held my left hand out to her. Then this one will always be yours. Just yours. Miyako firmly took hold of that hand. She felt warm. Even on this wintertime roof, her hand was warm, clearly transmitting her presence. Miyako,
何かな、ヒロ君。
when winter ends and spring passes by, I'll talk to them and see if I can take a break in the summer. We should take a trip somewhere if that happens. When summer comes, okay?
約束だね。
Miyako was overjoyed. Yeah, a promise was made. It wasn't something intended to tie us together. We exchanged it because we trusted each other.
ヒロ君、授業に出なくちゃ。
Alright, let's go. With her full smile, she wrapped around my arm. Miyako, if I'm with you, I can go anywhere. No matter what lies ahead, if there's nothing. If I lose other things important to me. If it turns out we cannot go anywhere. As long as we are connected, if we collect enough happy times, we'll someday transform them into glittering memories. It's definitely possible. And so we'll sprint ahead. We'll make sure this unending journey continues. Alright. I think it's okay to just leave it here and we will pick it up next time. There we are. There we go. Ah, stretch. Ah, thank you so much. I really need it. I am especially beat today. Sorry if I was sloppy during stream. My thoughts and my expression of my thoughts may not have been the most eloquent. I messed up with the mouse wheel plenty of time while reading. I apologize for that, but I hope you still had at least relatively enjoyable time over here. I appreciate you all for dropping by. Sorry, my mouth is super dry. It's always fun to enjoy these stories with you instead of just me by my lonesome. So I'm incredibly grateful. Take care, and I'll see you Thursday with more of this. Bye bye.